to introduce Master Gardener Helene, who's going to talk about 11 houseplants to bring us luck and prosperity. Helene, take it away.
Thank you, Susan. What a wonderful introduction. And I am a certified master gardener, and I'm also a lead green associate provided by USGBC Green Building Council. So next slide. So when we think of luck and positive and prosperity and happiness and health, I just wanted to take a moment to explain in Eastern philosophy sense, prosperity has a much broader definition than what we in the United States think of. And it really is a state of flourishing, thriving, good fortune, and social status. So it encompasses wealth and really all of those things that we look at as being positive, including happiness and health. Next slide. So the very first one, I've chosen 11 that are really on the top of most folks' list, and I left out, there's a few others that I have at the end. The palm plant is certainly very popular. When you look at it, you will see that, stand by for just a moment, I'm having technical difficulties. Okay, so the palm plant you see oftentimes in office buildings, etc. It's native to moist forest areas in Madagascar, which oftentimes we hear these names, and it's actually an island off of East Africa in the Indian Ocean. It's very easy to grow, bright and direct light, modest watering, and close-fitting flower pot. And what I mean by that is don't think in terms of repotting it if you get a little plant into something giant. In feng shui circles, the areca is considered lucky. It brings wealth, peace, and prosperity to the house, pushing out negative energy and attracting positivity. And who couldn't like that more right now? You keep it in the east, southeast, south, or north directions, enhancing productivity. In each one of these slides, I'm also going to mention the toxicity to us or our pet friends. There are no known toxic properties, but the fronds are rather sharp, so you probably want to keep your little ones away from it. Next. The money plant, and this is referred to in lots of different names. Again, you'll see this in people's homes and buildings. It's a tropical evergreen native to tropical rainforest from Mexico to northern South America. It prefers bright, indirect light, deep watering, and every time you water it, you're supposed to turn it. It grows rather rapidly and will really point in the direction of light, so that way you'll keep it full and round with even growth, and it actually loves fluorescent lights also. So in feng shui circles, the money tree is believed to bring good luck to those who plant it in their home or office. The roasted nuts reportedly taste like chestnuts, and plants grow in water, hence the common name of water chestnut. The leaves, flowers, and nuts are edible. The next one, perhaps one of the most well-known plants. There are lots of different types, and some other plants that look a lot like it, but are not exactly the pothos or the pothos. They have a climbing, trailing vine look native to Solomon Islands. They will get 14 to 18 feet long when they're planted outside in the tropics or the subtropics, and they produce abundant yellow marbled foliage. I actually have one here that I planted a while back. There's a few other things in here as well. They're a lovely plant that tolerates poor light and general neglect. Again, all of these plants are going to do very well in a typical home environment. The pothos actually thrives with a little bit more of everything, but will do well without a lot of attention. Feng Shui principles, one of the best for air purity, energizing, greater harmony, enhanced sleep. And it's also recommended for planting inside the house, as they bring very, very good luck, not necessarily outside. They are moderately toxic to pets. And when I say that, I mean that that an awful lot of plants, if they're eaten in small quantities by us or by our critter friends, they can produce intestinal discomfort, but it's nothing that's lethal or particularly dangerous. The lucky bamboo, also one of those things that oftentimes when we see them in stores, or if you go to Merrifield or one of the other garden places, you see them sitting in pretty little cylinders with water. And that is certainly something that the garden centers recommend. I actually planted one about a year ago in with several other things, one of which we're going to talk about in a few minutes also, which is the Jade Plant, and of course the Pothos. And they do very well in soil as also, but they do better as in the picture where you're seeing some pebbles and water. They're slow growing. They're herbaceous perennial, native to tropical West Africa. They do resemble bamboo, though they're really not closely related. As a houseplant, they're really low maintenance, and they can be grown in very moderate light and pebbles water, as I said, the soil. The stems can be trained to take on many forms, including spirals, braids, hearts, and loops. In the Eastern cultures, they've been long regarded as a plant that's a symbol of good fortune. The Chinese consider that they provide tremendous luck, fortune, and power. It's also regarded as bringing harmony within the 5 keys of feng shui elements: fire, earth, wood, water, and metal. East planning to focus on family. Southeast is the nucleus of wealth. They are moderately toxic to plants, and this is one that if you have a cat or a dog that jumps on things and chews, I would not recommend you have it in your house. The snake plant, also known as the Dracaena, mother-in-law's tongue, or the viper's bowstring lamb, native to tropical Western Africa, primarily Nigeria. In its native habitat, it can rise up to 4 to 5 feet tall. Truly tolerates neglect, low to moderate indirect light, and best to water well just before it dries out. Also very, very easy to propagate. Now, it absorbs poisonous gases and eliminates toxins. There have been multiple NASA studies on the top 10 plants to have in your house that really provide strong elimination of toxins, and this is actually one of them. In Eastern culture, it's believed to provide protective energy and shielding residents from native chi. And again, that goes along with the eliminating toxins. I have a footnote that I'm not going to read on the slides. The Dracaenas are considered toxic to animals. Just like so many of the other things, they're not necessarily lethal, but they can cause significant intestinal distress and short-term neurological issues as well. The jade plant, I think I already showed you my jade that's happily cohabitating with some other things. It is native to South Africa. Popular branch succulent, needs bright light and thrives in low humidity with well-drained soil. Will often develop red tips and sometimes flowers when grown in direct sun. Now inside, I rarely see the flowers, although in a greenhouse environment, and if you have grow lights, you can get it to flower. You moderately water it to completely dry soil. That one that I showed you, I probably water that every 2 to 3 weeks very moderately. It does not require winter dormancy, but appreciates a resting period with reduced water. Jade by the door, pour no more, is something that's very well considered, very well thought in Eastern cultures. The jade plant has been known to bring prosperity and friendship to those who own it. It is not considered edible and can be mildly toxic to your pets and you. The potted orchid. There are literally thousands of types of orchids. Orchids are cosmopolitan. They occur in almost every habitat apart from glaciers. And fossilized orchids have been found dating back over 15 million years. Now, I found it fascinating a few years back when I was in Peru and hiking in the native lands, and there were multiple orchids growing out of trees, and the insects that were the pollinators actually looked exactly like their native plant, their native orchid. It was very cool to watch. In the house, they're also very easy to grow. Good air circulation, bright light, airy light soil. And They do come in so many different varieties and types, and I recommend that that if this is something you like, having something that will grow for months at a time with flowers and a short dormancy period, get yourself an orchid and look up the specific instructions for that particular orchid, because they all can be a little bit different. They attract wealth, success, and fertility. Orchids are thought to be very lucky when they're placed in entryways, and according to feng shui, they represent perfection, natural beauty, and love. Who wouldn't like a little bit more of that in our life? And that they have the unique ability to bring good luck and fortune in love. Most are non-toxic. When I say most, probably 1900 out of 2000 are going to be non-toxic. There are some popular exceptions, and one is the lady slipper, and once again can cause intestinal distress. The Tulsi, or the basil. Now, certainly there are many, many different types of basil, mostly in the same family. This is, I love that that picture. I wish I could get one to grow that looks like that. It was originally believed to be of Asian Indian subcontinental descent, and is revered by Indians throughout the world as a medicinal, fragrant herb, and has sacred qualities. And it's one of those plants that you really can grow in your house, and it's extremely fragrant in the room. Holy basil thrives in full sun, outdoors in loamy, fertile soil, and relatively neutral pH. It can be grown in bright window, indoors in loamy, fertile soil with good drainage. You want to water it when it's almost dry and pinch it frequently. So, I don't mean that. I mean, you actually pinch off the leaves, or you get a scissor and you clip it off, and that way it keeps that nice full blooming or sprouting. It's believed to bring health, wealth, and happiness wherever it is planted. And it has been extensively researched and documented throughout the world. It does have some very good positive health-related qualities. It is non-toxic. However, it is not recommended for women who are pregnant. The peace lily is certainly one of those things that we see and we often get and as gifts. And I do have a different one here. It's not exactly the one that is in the picture, but it is in that same family. And it is native primarily to tropical rainforests of America. Again, all of these things really are very easy to grow. They prefer low light, partial shade, and can tolerate fluorescent lights. You water when dry, very tolerant of drought, and will perk quickly up when watered. It's a cleansing plant. And again, another one of the NASA plants of top 10 with very strong purification properties. In feng shui, it's considered very good luck and fortune. It is toxic to pets, not life-threatening. However, again, severe temporary discomfort. If you have plants the pets that tend to nibble, or puppies or kittens, either remove it or put it up on a high shelf. The rubber plant, and again, one of those things that I hope you can't see the dust on them. So if I can grow them inside, anybody can. I have acres of plants that I've grown outside. I'm not so good at nurturing my indoor ones. So the native ranges, Asia, Himalayas to Malaysia, and Sumatra and Java. Easy broadleaf evergreen, likes bright and direct light with moderate watering, will tolerate drought, does not like wet feet, and it can become infested with wet feet. And wet feet means excess watering and wet soil. In feng shui, these plants foster fortune, abundance, and increase in wealth. And they aid in removing toxins, thereby stimulating positivity and peace. Again, another one of those plants that it is considered toxic to pets and humans. The saps, the stems, and the leaves can cause severe intestinal discomfort and also dermatitis. So then, you know what, if you're going to keep it in the house, you keep your aloe plant right next to it. And every time you want to touch it, you just grab your aloe and rub your hands on it. So the tea plant, the last one we're going to talk about. This is one of my all-time favorite plants for personal reasons. When I was a very, very little girl, my grandmother actually gave me and I mean, I was probably 7. She gave me a little baggie with instructions and a plant stem. So the plants, you see that picture, they come in many colors, and here's the end of one of mine that I've had. She gave me one of these little things about 50 years ago, and I followed the instructions. I put it in a pot and just laid the tea plant stem on it and watered it regularly, just pushed it in a little bit to the soil, and I wound up with this magnificent giant Hawaiian tea plant. The foliage does come in multiple shades. It's very easy to grow and propagate. It really likes that humid, moist, full or bright light. Prefers water without fluoride. It is revered as a food source for foliage boughs, and ancient Hawaiians believed it brought long life and lasting love. So I bring this up at the end because we are in Valentine's week, and I truly believe that my grandmother, when she gave me the stem, it created a lifelong love of planting. And the plant got so big a few years back when I took it out during the summer, it doubled in size to about 8 feet around. I cut it up into little pieces and put it in pots and started giving it out to people for the long life, lasting love and fortune. So I hope that that this potentially inspires you as well. Whether it's your spouse or friends or children, it's certainly a lovely gift at this time of year or any time of year. You can order them online. If you know me, you can also reach out to me, and I do have these fresh cuttings that I need to do something with. So I have had these in my house since I was a little girl, and I've always had at least 1 or 2 dogs and sometimes other pets. I've never had a problem, but the saponin's do cause severe discomfort, not lethal, but can create intestinal distress to pets. My pets, even my puppies, have never shown any interest. I hope this has been inspirational to you. I have added one more slide. There are additional plants that provide good luck and prosperity. Peony, lotus, jasmine, aloe vera, for which it's wonderful to have around the house, especially if you have any skin conditions or eczema or insect bites. It's a wonderful thing to have around. Rosemary, clover or oxalis, and philodendrons. So that concludes my presentation. And I do hope that this has inspired you to add a few more things to your indoor garden.